are not yet entrepreneurs. It's only preaching 1 year. Thanks. It's only preaching to the converted now. And how many of you would prefer among the two, being successful or being happy? How many people would prefer success over happiness? So everybody is got to be successful in being happy. Okay. This is what I started with. I'd gone into college in Bungalow, in Pune. Everybody was sitting for the CAT exam in the early years. This was 40 years ago. And by mistake, they took me in Bangalore. And the rest of the class didn't get it. It was like a lot of things that happened. It was your lucky day on the day of the exam and your lucky day on the day of your interview. There is a very little difference in getting in and not getting in for most people. Half the people who appeared from our table in the restaurant that we used to sit got a call. But it was a bad day for some of them and not a good day. So it just happened that you got it. And like it happens in most IITs and IIMs, practically everybody that gets in gets out. They don't hold back people. Took a job in Bombay and decided that, and it was very, very close to here that my decision to go back into business. I was at a dairy station. This was in 1980. A dairy station when I saw a 10-day-old child, or what looked like a 10 child, a mother carrying it on that crowded bridge. And even 40 years ago it was crowded. And I said, I don't want my children to have that life. And a week later, my uncle, who was then 40, who had started Mapro actually in the kitchen where I used to go to school and stay with him, and he said, I have a bigger purpose in life. He had no children. He has no children. And I found a guru. My guru is in Pune. I want to shift to Pune. And Mapro was in about a 7 lakh business, big in that time. Get out of home. And then I'll go down. Or if you want, take it over. Fortunately, I had married by that time and my wife's father studied in Panchkari. So she understood Panchkari. Balkeshwar, we were staying in Kandivali. I was working in Mustardseed. It's typical Bombay, this. And then she said, Panchkari? Great, better than staying in Kandivali. And that's how we shifted to Panchkari. Because one, happiness was more important than success at that time. So that made us both shift to Panchkari. We were staying down the street. I'm just giving you a few examples of what helped us. Joining the business where my uncle said I'll take a few years and hand it over in a few years. One lesson was another friend, family friend who says, with all due respect to the ladies here, nothing personal, is that you're going to be doing the same business, you'll work as partners. If you're doing in the same business, have separate kitchens. Basically, my auntie and my wife said, the differences in families happen over small things and get aggravated, and they bounce back on the business. So we took literally a kitchen in a house, not even across the street, but on the next compound. So, literally 12 feet away, but in the next compound. And as a learning much later, it really helped. So you had your space to withdraw into if there was a difference. It was just one small learning there. Shifted to Panchkari and forgot that I was from IIM. I had a job in Voltas, which allowed me at that time to go to any airport in the country. I was so-called transport manager, logistics manager before the word was common. And I was senior manager at the age of 24. And now that you've already crossed the bridge, except one, I realized that time that as a senior manager, I had a salary of 1,500 at that time. But it was that the branch managers or the general managers, their salary was 3,000, 3,500 rupees at that time. So I said, 20 years later, I may become a general manager, I may become a director. But my salary will be only double of today. And the power, supposedly the power that I have, some 24-year-old like the Skoda who's come in will veto me because he has a ear to the boss. I could go around and veto everybody's decisions. So there was no power, there was no money, and there was only a glory of being employed by a large corporation. But few friends who were seniors who started talking, he said, I can afford to go on company expense anywhere, but if I have to take my wife out of my personal expense, I cannot afford first class travel fare. So that got me thinking. I said, there is no power, no money, and it actually makes you quite unable to live life outside the community. So when my uncle offered that I go down to offered Panchani, at the same time I was already in head office doing very well. Had a year to the chairman. The chairman's secretary was my schoolmate's mother, so it made a lot of difference. And she said, there's a flat getting vacant in Altamont Road. It's a small one-bedroom flat. Nobody wants it. Do you want it? I said, I'll think over it. I said, if I take an Altamont Road flat at the age of 24, I will never leave the company. I'll be bound. That made me shift to Panchin, as we actually operated out of the old house that we had, a large 4-bedroom house. One bedroom got shifted into a factory till 83 to 88. Expansion happened. And somebody keep time on that. I can keep talking, but okay. No, I'll make it. Expansion happened. In 88, we built a factory which today is called the Mapro Garden. It's 2,000 square feet. We built up the first 2,000 square feet, and then we operated out of other people's houses. There, the realization came in, maybe out of stories that we have read or heard, that when people are on a holiday, they are more receptive to different things. Just another secret, don't implement it when you're in Mangaleshwar at least, that you buy things on a holiday that you don't need. If you needed them, you would have already bought it at home, when you were at home. This came out of somebody in a wedding had presented us a petty cash book, which said a petty cash book, a ledger type thing, well decorated. So please keep your accounts when you first get married. So I told my wife, you have to keep accounts. Okay, wife knew, she would write everything in the pencil. At the end of the first few months, we realized that expenses in that 1,200, 1,500 salary that we got, expenses were not food or stay or this. Expenses were either traveling or gifting. That was the major expensive thing. And it was, when you were traveling, it was always purchases that were major expenses, discretionary expenses. So when people go on a holiday, they buy things that they don't need. There are impulse buys. That was the realization. We just built that factory, and from literature that we had read, not business literature, but novels, on what America did 50 years ago when the car actually came, people became frequent. And when people drive, they're looking for a place to stop, looking for a place to see. So we got people to stop by, first taxi drivers and then people to stop by to see our factory. Please come and visit and look at our factory. We would reward taxi drivers that if you come 10 times, you'll get this, you get 100 times, you get this. So they would come 100 times to get that small helping steel. And they kept coming and getting people over. Whether they buy, don't buy, just come and see our brand. So people kept coming. And last year, that is 2017, 40 lakh people walked into Mapro Garden. And we don't charge. And It's just allow people to come, and specifically on a holiday, people want to be there, seen that, bought a t-shirt or ate that ice cream. They want to take it off. And with all due respect to all city dwellers, I used to be one, that most people can't do nothing. And especially on a holiday, that okay, we'll go and relax. लेकिन सुबह यहाँ जाएंगे, शाम को वहाँ जाएंगे, बीच में relax हो. They can't sit doing nothing. So once you're on a 3-day holiday, this is morning here, evening here. And fortunately, Mahabaleshwar didn't develop many other things to people to do. So it became one thing that, and it hurts me that people park a kilometer away and walk down to just walk around in my place. Because that's the level of the crowd that is there. I mean, what I see as an opportunity here, I just walk back and forth. Is in the last 20 years, specifically, we've been growing 20% CAGR, the number of people walking in. That's every 3.5 years, we are doubling the number of people walking in. It's not what I have done. It may be what others have not done, but largely, it's just that the Indian economy has grown so much that the number of people who today can afford a holiday or have discretionary spending, people who are first generation holiday makers, are just multiplying. They're growing. This year it's 10,000, tomorrow, next year it's 25,000, another 50,000. Everybody who's bought a car this weekend or next month, or we will drive out somewhere. That's for me, but I'm sure you see it all around Mumbai, largely in small town India. The urge to consume, to buy something different which my parents could not afford or even my elder brother could not afford is so high that we can't go. If you do your thing, then there are high chances that you will succeed. This is 1988, we started the factory. 89, we said that more people are walking in to see the factory and we need to give them something. Whether they walk in, kuch milega, and there's a true story. I don't know how many will believe it. 1990, we got married in 83. And I shifted there we got married in 81, I shifted there in 83. 81, when we got married, my sister-in-law, my wife's elder sister, who was settled in the US, she had come for the wedding. Should I apply for a P5 visa, right now family visa, for a green card? I said, well, what is it? He said that allows you to a green card. I had no intention of going there. I said, how much does it cost? He said $10. For application, it cost $10. That time it was 7 rupees 50 paisa, not 75 as it is today. So it's 70. So it's $10, 75 please apply. And I forgot all about it. 91, I get a letter that your application has been approved. Please come to the visa center to complete formalities. So what did it involve? He said that you get a green card, every year you have to go to America to keep it alive. And if you have stayed there for 3.5 years, you can get a citizenship, 3.5 years and 5 years. No intention of going there, was very happy here. But I said, take another option. But no, every year going, 4 people, me and my children, so that time we had 4 people going, how much does it cost? I told my wife, no, we can't afford it. He said, no, let me try, my sister is there, my other sister is there, my brother is there, why don't you also try? I said, you want the money, we'll do it. I can't afford every year to go and come. So she started making and selling ice cream at Mapro garden. हाथ के संचे से ice cream banana. Thank you. She started making and selling ice cream, and luckily we had friends. We used to supply strawberries to Quality Walls, Quality that time before the walls took over. So Mr. N.K. Seth and Premji Nisar, who are trained, they help me. You want to make good ice cream? Do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. Make it the best ice cream. We are making commercial ice cream, you make good ice cream. So we just got the elements of ice cream making. And fortunately, the ice cream did so well that today we can go to America every week and come back, only from the ice cream. So I'm sure there have been lots and lots of things that we have done that have gone wrong. But as entrepreneurs, you need to throw a lot of stones. Some of them will hit, some of them will not hit. We lived with a lot of farmers. Another major, we were in the village between Panjeri and Mahabaleshwar, and strawberries was our main purchase. So interaction with strawberry farmers and villagers, and we lived down the same street, on a street where every social, from royalty to the sweeper, it seems like all stayed on the same small town, and it is no different. Means who your neighbor. We went to school. One of my schoolmates became, he is now the deputy mayor of London. Another schoolmate who was the municipal school teacher's daughter is also in London. But another somewhat royal, I am from this royal family, is a taxi driver. But we all stay and live in a socially equal, which doesn't happen at most places. Then when you're sitting down with villagers as equals, not as I am state or you're there, you're sitting down with equals, there is what we realize that there is as much to learn. I think I've learned more from my interactions in the villages than I have learned from IIM. And I'm not saying it's an exaggeration, there's enough to learn about society from all people. So these people, with their limited means, are able to socially manage multiple difficulties. They can manage their families, they can manage their community within the community, they can manage politics within the society. And most of the work we give our people is repetitive. And then we put a supervisor on them because we say that these guys can't do. Socially, they are much more able than we are. And then we tell them that, no, you require a supervisor. What their learning was that these people are as good or better than me. I may have been in that 1% getting into IIM because the only thing I do it was I could give that exam better than 99 other people. But there are 99 other things in the world that most people can do better than I can. So everybody has something, or most people have most things better than our ability, however great we are. That is what living in the village we can recognize. It gives you a huge humility that most things you are not good. You are only good at a few things. We carried on till 94, 95 in the same way through. Then things changed. We didn't want a larger factory. Panchgani was already an eco-sensitive zone. And we said now a 2,000 square feet factory will be a little smaller. We wanted to grow a bigger factory. But we didn't want more trucks coming up on the hill. So I want to live there. I don't want extra 10 trucks coming in. Whether that's what I didn't want. So I looked at a place in the plains down 20 kilometers down to expand the factory. The economic side was land was 10 times cheaper there also, but you could expand there. That did not stop a million cars coming up. But my 10 trucks a day reduced there. We stayed down there. It was difficult for people living in the hills to go down in the plains and work in the hot areas. We were too used to working in this. And happily we were doing well. had constant growth from the time I joined from 93 to 83 to 96, 13 years of constant growth. My local banker was Bank of Maharashtra. But when I wanted a loan for 96, 98 to start the new factory in Y, every bank refused. One is you don't give that 2% that is required in to start thing. You are arrogant. You do not give us the respect that a banker requires. Pao padho, ji aao, bahar baitho. This was the serious situation in the State Bank of India. Another friend who used to so I don't have time. I didn't process it for 3 months. I couldn't process your thing. I didn't even send it up. So we decided that no, it doesn't make sense. We'll earn the money and build our factory. It took us a few years. We built the factory by 2005-6, over 6 years, and started a larger manufacturing base. 2-3 lucky things happened in 2006. We just started the factory. Somebody walks in and says, I need a job. I said, what do you do? I used to manage a factory in Saudi. I said, what factory? No, tomato ketchup factory. What have you done before? I've worked engineering, I've done my MTech. Where are you from? Ahmednagar. What salary? You give it. I said, why do you want to come in? I am married. My wife was in Infosys. For 4 years we've been separated. I need to come back to India or she will divorce me, therefore I am coming back to India. He built the whole machinery in the factory. He made every machine, designed, implemented and built it. I had no, and from the money that we would save, he would build the factories and this. Another luck. This was a small one. The big thing, 3 other things happened. 2006. Modern trade had just started. Modern trade came in, and all of them asked. They came with SOPs from their consultants abroad, the Big Bazaar or the Spencers, or that time 2 or 3 ABRL came in a year too later. And the SOP said that for any product you have to have 2 brands, the leading brand and the second brand. Any other brand for any product group. So at that time the leading brand was Unilever's Kisan for squashes and jam. And they all wanted a second brand. And they went around in the markets looking for a second brand. Nobody could give a bill. So bill milta hai sirf Mapro ke paas se. The only people who were on the books was Mapro, all across. I had 6 people in sales. All of them salesmen, one a little senior salesman. He said, nahi, bulaya, Bangalore jana, Delhi jana. And we got into all modern trade without trying. And that gave us the critical mass to appoint a distributor in that town. Okay, Big Bazaar rehta ho, main bhi le lo. That wasn't the only luck. We had a new manufacturing facility. We had new customers. Taxes at that time, till 2005, 4 and 5. Indirect tax was 16% excise, 15.3% sales tax, and in places like Bombay, 7% octroi. So cascading effect of 50% indirect taxes. And to be able to compete with my friends who did not have to pay or didn't pay the taxes, I had to really run a tight ship to be able to price my product, and it gave me advantages. So I was always premium price because I couldn't afford to sell. And like food and medicine, if it's costly, it is good. So that gave me premium pricing without trying. Second, in 2006, they reduced excise. This is fruit product. They reduced excise from 16 to 8, and another 2 years later, they reduced it to 0. And that year, VAT came in. They moved from sales tax to VAT. That 15% became 12%, and few months later, somebody realized fruit processing is important, so they reduced it to 4. Octroi continued. that 50% became 10%. And all that came to the bottom line. So I got three, I had a new factory with some cheaply made machines. I had new customers and I got increased profitability. That we kept on reinvesting back. Today the factory is over 18 acres, 2 lakh square feet. Profitably, very profitably, we have among the highest profitability margins. We are very small, but we have high profit margins, and we operate 15% capacity of the factory. So we can yet operate, and because the banks denied us money that time, we were very careful on spending money, and we have zero debt, high profitability, but it just got a lot to do with luck. These three things happened here. The second, after that 2006 to now, this 10, 12 years, the markets have just bloomed. People want to consume and consume more. 2006, a vada pav in Pune, in Bombay, was 1 rupee. Today I think it's 10, and costs have not gone up that much. People are willing to spend significantly more for everything, and that is where the opportunity is. You can give quality, you can afford to give quality. But I'll come to the crux of what we have to keep trying. There are lots and lots of external factors that we have no control on. Which government comes in, what tax policies happen, what riots happen in your area, how the economy is growing or falling. But keep trying. There are too many factors which are outside our thing. But what is within, if we try to do it to our joy and to our best, if we are happier doing a better job, success and failure is not something that would define the entrepreneur. It is how much joy the entrepreneur has to do in doing what he is doing. The joy is in the journey, not in the final success. Somebody can say that I could have grown 10x more. That am I a failure? Or if you had done this, you may have been less. Am I a success? No. Whether I have enjoyed the last 30 or 40 years of what I've been doing, definitely yes. This is the joy is running the opportunity, which I tell we are already on one side. Especially I tell school children, people going into business, and especially a businessman's son who's suddenly taken up a job because it's comfortable. That I can go 9 to 5 and then I'll go home at 6. It never happens there, but the risk averseness of a business, I don't want to be like my father, I want to have a safe job. All our education system, I can't say this in non-entrepreneurial environments, all our education system from school onwards, school, college, this is geared towards getting a job. Our peer system, I want to study, I'll go to IIT, I'll do this, but why? I'll get a good job. I want the whole pressure, whole environment is that you're doing things to get a good job. Every smart guy wants a great job. I'll get into Hindustan Lever, or I'll get into Infosys, or I'll get into Google. But I'll get in there. The smart guys are the ones who give the jobs. Giving the job, it's a completely buyer's market, where if you are a buyer, everybody wants a job. If you can give a fixed salary on a particular day, it's not how big or small, but as long as you know that inke paas se pagar right time milta hai, half the world, not half the world, 90% of the world wants to join you. So all the brightest people, all they are asking for is a constant salary and some respect. Everybody wants to work, just allow them to work. That's all that is required. give the respect to the people. I am known for being a delegator without any guidance. I said, please, tumhara kaam karo. Let me, you know, try it your way. Everybody has their own way. The leadership develops within them. My major problem is not how much salary to give. Nobody's asked, at least in our organization, nobody asks for salary. Is why did this guy get something more than me? Or why did he get something less? As long as we've got equal growth, we have tried enough. Somebody has performed more, somebody's performed less. I have people who say that itna mat padha, or everybody else will feel bad. There are actually people, give them the freedom to work. There are people who work 360 out of 365 days and they're with no reward. Out of 365 days a year, they come to work for 360 days. It's just give them the respect, give them the salary on time. Most people want that fixed. I don't know who said it, I remembered it. There are three great addictions. Heroin is among the highest. Sugar is the second one. Things were very, very addictive. But more addictive than both these is salary. You've been able to get out of that. But for most people in the world, that salary is so important. And once they're addicted to that salary, they'll continue. Just one more aside. This 2% CSR that came in. I used to laugh. I said, why CSR? Then everybody started talking to me how Milton Friedman had said the purpose of business is to make money. There was Milton Friedman, 74 Nobel Prize winner. Everything else should be secondary, which we didn't agree. In being part of a social system, I don't think CSR is a 2% thing. Our business is our CSR. Business itself is CSR. If you are doing good for the community rewards you by giving you a surplus because you are efficient. If you are not efficient, somebody else will make that money. If you are making your money out of efficiency, you can't cheat people and make money throughout on a long thing. That's a short term. If you are going to make money for a longer term, because you are doing efficiently, you are giving people what they require, and you are also employing people. And if you are good with people, your business is your CSR. CSR can't be a 2% thing. Your business, your 100%, you are a part of a community. And that is your social responsibility, not 2% area, now I can do what I want. So that's a difference that we've had. Two other learnings is that traveling around, I did, in 96 to 98, I felt that, I was turning 40. I said, I've left this. I want to see what my contemporaries who went into corporate life, what have they achieved, what is happening. I got an opportunity to go into a 2-year quasi MBA program for experienced managers worldwide. It allowed me to go to Japan and UK and Canada over 2 years. And 10 lakhs fees instead of 40 lakhs for others, 10 lakhs for people from developing countries. There were 3 people from India. Captain Gopinath was one, I was another, and Captain's brother-in-law was there. Captain had just bought his first helicopter during the part of the course. And we met 40 other 40-year-olds. Other than us, the smallest company was Lufthansa. So Lufthansa was the smallest companies, and there were people from France and Japan and Canada and the US, the Motorolas at that time. And what did we realize? The 3 of us used to sit around and say, what is our learning? The most efficient among all those organizations was not Lufthansa or Motorola. Fujitsu was there, but not there. The most efficient of those organizations, there was one NGO with us. It was the Red Cross. So when Muthuraman was giving us a lecture on how Gopalpuram Sea was relocated when Tatas wanted to put a thing that we looked after 15,000 people and we did this for 15,000. That was a challenge. So one of the Red Cross people was smiling. So what have you done? So we are looking after a camp in Tanzania. There are refugees. Oh, how many people do you have there? So we have 4 lakh refugees. We've been maintaining them for 2 years, and we have 8 people who do that. And we also generate the funds and look after 4 lakh. So I interned at the Red Cross for a week at their headquarters, and that is because they were passionate. There was far more efficiency than those great companies of the world. So it comes from passion. The second is we met 40 others, other than the Red Cross and 3 of us. There were 35 other people from the largest corporations in the world. And with all due respect, they're all friends of mine. Most corporate executives may seem a little bad. It's not as bad as it sounds, but they are mercenaries. They'll go where the greatest reward is. They will go for the greatest reward. So, if we in our enterprise, if you can identify the right people and dangle the right carrot, you can get the best talent to join. And all the talent want is respect and a little freedom to operate. And we just have to give direction. So there is a lot for us to do. Keep on doing this. Now, turned 60 this year. It's just a number. Try to keep up, try to do this. My uncle beats me to it. He's 85 and he sends me emails and he catches my grandson and says, show me this, what is a new app or something. But this is tech, but we do not understand, or we do, as 60-year-olds, 80-year-olds, even 40-year-olds, we don't understand the expectations or the understanding of the 20-year-olds today. We assume we understand, but I understand very little. The frame is very different. After 1971, not people born after 71, but people born after 60. After 71, we have had no war in India. Every year has been better than the previous year. Even 2008, we did not have a problem. Even the war years, we did not have a problem. We grew 2%, 3%, 5%. Nobody in their mind believes that tomorrow is going to be worse than today. That I need to save more for an uncertain tomorrow. Very few people. So that, for us, is an understanding we don't understand. We yet plan for uncertainty. We've grown up on stories that our grandparents told us. And those stories make a huge difference. We all live from stories. We believe the stories and they get ingrained in us. Whether right, wrong, we believe them. So we grew up, my grandparents were born in 1898. So those are the stories they told us from what they've heard, what they've experienced. And I cannot relate that, tell that to my understanding to my children or grandchildren. They are in a different world altogether. I don't understand the world. I try to understand, but for the future, it's the younger people whose energy and vision we have to be able to embrace. Our vision is old. We can give principle, but no more vision. If anybody says 60-year-old or 70-year-old says that I will think for 20 years, the base itself from where we are thinking is wrong. So I try to interact with school children and college what little I can hear, but that is where our learning comes from. So wherever we have to take product or this, we call school children or interns who are working with us, and their decision is final, not ours. So young people, learn from them. Their hunger is much, much more than us. Business itself is CSR. Run it for the community. 3. enjoy the journey. The destination doesn't make any difference. Just enjoy the journey. You're already in it. Do it to your best. Keep on innovating. And unless you make mistakes, you'll never learn. But moderate. My thing is moderating. How much mistake can I make? That's all. Assessing risk, trying to take those risks. Thank you very much. Questions always open. Thanks a lot.